you want to improve at Overwatch, it's imperative that you have a specific understanding of what good positioning is. In this VOD review, we're just going to be primarily focusing on the positioning of our hero and how it could have been better. With that being said, my name is Curryshot. I'm a multi-season top 500 player, and in today's video, we will be reviewing the defense portion of this VOD of a 2200 rated soldier on Watchpoint Gibraltar. The first things first is positioning is really relative to what the opponent has in terms of heroes, and as well as to what you have. So the first thing I notice is that you guys don't have a Reinhardt. That means if they have a Reinhardt, that's free Earth Shatters. The other thing that I notice later on is that they have nothing to contest high ground, which you will see, which means, one, if you control high ground, it's just the perfect scenario. They have nothing to get you off unless they switch their heroes. You don't get Earth Shattered. It is essential that our soldier controls high ground in this map, okay? Now, the second thing that I'm going to mention is specific to this map, is you don't want to position here only because they can see exactly where everybody is. So your team's down here, they're holding on cart, which is not optimal. So I'm going to show you guys the next best thing at these low ratings, since they don't know the good positionings or where to position. So obviously in high ratings, it's okay to go ahead and stay here for maybe, I don't know, 5 or 6 seconds, get a couple shots off, build a little bit of ult charge, then fall back to server room, and then, you know, let's say our soldier or Ana go up to catwalk. That's very common. That's optimal, okay? You'll see other pro players doing it. It's just the way to play in terms of the highest level of playing, okay? However, I'm going to show you guys the next best thing at these ratings, since again, it's just really hard to get everybody to do what you think is best, right? So let's start playing this out. Before I get into it, actually, I want to go ahead and tell you guys where pro players or where any high rated player will start off right here. They'll hide right here, and so again, they're not in plain sight, and they'll go ahead and go for these, I'm going to call them cheese rockets, right? So these cheese rockets, they'll shoot into the spawn either at the upper or lower floor, and it's around 3 to 4% ult charge for splash damage and 6% for a direct hit. So it's potentially 10 to 20% of ult charge that our soldier's not going for, and that can actually be a pretty good advantage over the other DPS if you can actually get this ult charge, right? So I don't like this positioning specifically because, one, you don't have a Reinhardt to stand behind. What this means is if you do choose to go ahead and pivot your line of sight from here, since the cart will pivot as well, they're going to be looking here, and you do go here, you have nothing, which you do end up going, by the way. There's nothing to really watch this. You can get hooked, you can get killed by flanker, McCree, I don't know. You can get killed by so many things here, since there's nothing to really see it. As you will see, Roadhog does try to hook our hero multiple times, and he does try the 4th time. So instead of relying on mechanical misplay from your opponent, it's really crucial that you understand why this is not an optimal position to be. It's very risky. What I would have done again is I would have gone up here and probably stayed up here. Since you do have something to stand behind, splash damage can hit you. There's a giant wall that splash damage can hit you, like a Zarya right click, and again, McCree and Roadhog can flank you, okay? As you will see, they do multiple times. Again, and then the next thing after this, when they start to push under bridge, is you drop to server room, go up to catwalk, and we'll get right into that, okay? So if you watch here, just gonna go ahead and show you, yeah, Roadhog's there hooking. You don't want to run into that room versus Roadhog can turn around and just one-shot you, hook you, etc, etc, okay? We'll go over the death here, just to show you everybody what I was talking about. McCree does end up flanking up the left room. He crouch walks. I can actually hear him in the VOD, so that shows that you know, he actually does know how to go ahead and take advantage of this kind of positioning. And again, you're positioned here, and they can go ahead and hit the wall behind you, the crate behind you, and get slash damage out, okay? Now, the reason I was pointing out about going to catwalk after this is because I don't know if our hero would have gone ahead and gone to catwalk or just stayed here, because he actually does go to catwalk, but it's because he died, you know what I mean? So it's best that I go ahead and go over this, so even if he didn't die, he knows exactly where to go. Now let's talk about why this is good positioning, but why it might not be good positioning 5 seconds from now. Positioning is always relative to the opponent's positioning, their ultimates, and it's a good idea to keep track of this, okay? So right here, it's good positioning because of the angle at which you're holding, okay? So your line of sight is right here. They have a giant wall right here that they can't see because they're angled upwards. Their line of sight is straight up, right? As the card pivots, however, their line of sight will go ahead and go up here. Now, one reason why server room defense is really good is because usually people will hold right here, right? So the card doesn't actually end up pivoting, and they have two angles to go ahead and shoot at. If they try to commit for a soldier, they're turning their back basically on server room defense, and you know, basically can get shot at from the other angle. So you're basically free to do whatever you want, and you're shooting at them from two different angles. Now, however, two people get picked here, right? So if there's nobody contesting the card, you don't have a Reinhardt, so it's really hard to do that, and two people get picked. You want to go ahead and try to salvage this. If you choose to, however, you can go ahead and give up this point, go to the next point, get on top of the ship, and we'll go over that later, and try to get good positioning there, okay? But if you do choose to defend this, since your team is reinforcing, the best thing to do is go up here. And I'll show you why. So the card starts to pivot. That means the opponent's line of sight will go from being straight here to straight. Oh my god, dude, I can't write a straight line or what? Okay, no, but seriously, it's gonna go straight here. Okay, you're basically a free target now. So I see earlier in the VOD, when you spawn, you try to go ahead and rocket jump up here. You don't need to rocket jump, you can just sprint and jump up there. It's totally fine. You'll make it. But if you do choose to contest, it's a good idea to go up here, okay, and try to give them the flank and spank. You know what I'm saying? So this way, you're not shooting at a Reinhardt shield because he can't block your damage and block the people who are reinforcing from spawn, and you can go ahead and get in, like harass their backline and even harass the person who's the only person who can really kill you, which is McCree. And the way you do this is it's really easy. You're pretty close, so it's easy to go ahead and get headshots. You can hit them twice in the head and then just helix rocket them, and you can go ahead and get a pick that way. This is my idea of what good positioning here, and as you watch players like Mendokusai who actually do this, I'll go ahead and link a VOD in the description so you guys can see the kind of analysis that I do, and see other pro players actually put it to use. Not saying I made them put it to use, because I didn't, but you'll see that the thought process there, and see a live example of it, okay? So with that being said, let's get into the next point, because we do end up losing this point, we do die, and we don't get good positioning on their rocket, okay? On our rocket ship, I mean. Well, it's nobody's rocket ship, but the spaceship, okay? So we do end up dying there. Now, instead of going, I'm going to show you guys what he does and what I think he should do. So first and foremost, right here, you just can't get on rocket ship if you go around this way, okay? So the only way to really get on it in a safe manner, or a little bit safer, I guess you could say, is going ahead and rocket jumping on this blue crate and then going up that way on top of the ship. Not in it, but on top of it, okay? So right here, you'll see where our hero goes, and you'll see that he almost dies immediately. So he's at 65 HP. It's very risky to go on top of rocket ship here, because he can die if he goes this way. So it's the best way, again, is just to rocket jump up behind it. And we'll go ahead and talk about why a rocket ship is a really good place to position, okay? So let's just recap really fast. On the first point, we talked about abusing line of sight. So we talked about how line of sight pivots and why one position might not be a good position 5 seconds later. It's relative to what the opponent's ults have, where they're positioned, where their line of sight will be, and you have to abuse and work around their line of sight so you have a better line of sight. And the best way to do this is controlling high ground. Since again, they have no picks, nothing that can contest our soldier on high ground. They don't have a diva, they don't have a Genji, they don't have anything that with verticality to go upstairs. Okay, now let's get into the next thing. We're going to talk about damage drop off. Actually, before we do that, I'm just going to give you an example of why this right here was actually good for our hero, but bad for our Zen. So our Zen, he could have just easily gone here and abused line of sight and just position behind these crates, right? This is why this is not a good positioning. There's so much blockage, right, that he can just stand behind. As you will see, actually, McCree ends up killing him because he does a good job of positioning here under his LOS and abusing that by just killing him and just playing under that while he peeks out, right? Now, this is going to be a little bit unrelated because it's just something that kind of triggers me, only because I did say that positioning is relative to ult usage, right? So right here, the ultimates, there are 5 ultimates used while this player is spending this amount of time checking up the career profile or whatever, right? Never do this in game. Always do this if you want to do it anyway. Always do it outside of game or before a game. Never do this during, because we just missed 5 ultis that were used. So we don't know what we're playing. So if they have Earthshatter, Graviton, we have zero idea because we weren't paying attention. There are audio cues, but I'm not sure if the player is keeping track of these audio cues, okay? Now we're going to get into the next thing of just why ship is a good idea, okay? This is something that most players don't consider, but I think it's important to mention. So right here, our hero is positioning right on the bridge. So what this means is he has damage drop off, and that there's, again, a lot of blocking his line of sight. So one of the things to climb in these ratings is to abuse mispositions. A lot of players get impatient and don't think much of it. They're like, oh, okay, whatever. I'm just gonna walk through this door. My team's not here yet. You know, I'm Zenyatta, and Zenyatta does end up doing this, by the way. I'm just gonna go ahead and walk through. Nobody can punish me. But if in reality, if you were right up here, you can just go ahead and 2-tap him, basically. Just double headshot, Helix Rocket. If your aim's not that good, you can still kill him. You can 4-tap him. You know, just hit him 4 times, body shot, and then go ahead and Helix Rocket him. So let's go ahead and talk about the next thing, damage potential, okay? Or damage drop-off, right? We just briefly went over it, but the other thing about damage drop-off is ult charge. So since you're doing less damage, you're getting less ult charge, so you're not building ult as fast. And this is just something to consider, considering it's just a general disadvantage to have, not being able to build ult charge just as fast, especially on a soldier like especially on a hero like soldier, which you can you know, get ult charge relatively quickly by your biotic field, and then obviously just flat out damage. Okay. Now we do end up losing the point here. So now we're going to talk about what we were talking about earlier, is ultimates, reacting to ultimates, and where to position according to that. So we talked about us not having a Reinhardt earlier in this VOD. So again, it's just crucial to be on high ground. We're going to talk about ult usage here. So right here, they already capped the point. Zenyatta comes in guns fucking blazing with his Transcendence. And the gist tells you is, if she has Grav, if he has Earthshatter, you know, you don't have a defensive ulti right now, okay? So it's best that you understand what this means for you, and you try to get high ground on the left side, since it's the only high ground on the 3rd point that actually has cover that you can just walk back and avoid ultimates such as High Noon, avoid ultimates like Earthshatter, and not avoid ultimates like Graviton. I mean, she could solo ulti you if she wanted to, but I mean, most likely she won't, so I will say avoid ultimates like Graviton, because I don't think she's going to solo ult. But I've seen some things a little bit off tangent, but you know, I've seen a diva at around this rating who thought in the last meta when diva was OP, that what made diva OP was baby diva, so she would just suicide her mech. I'm not shitting you, she'd suicide her mech and then just run around and not suit up the entire game as baby diva. So like, I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. But anyway, I'm digress. Let's go ahead and keep talking about good positioning, okay? I'm gonna fast forward a bit here to show you guys what I mean. So Reinhardt does have Earthshatter. The reason I know this, not was because I'm in the game and have like super, you know, just I know exactly when the ultimates are. It's our hero, actually one of his teammates switches to Sombra, and there's a giant check mark that shows where shows the ultimate of Reinhardt. But anyway, let's go ahead and point this out. So earlier in the VOD, you kind of like start looping around here because you don't know where to go. Our soldier doesn't know where to go. So the best place to go right here is right here. If you go on the bridge behind this upstairs, there's a lot of damage drop off, and again, you won't build as much ult charge, and you won't really have that much of an impact. Right here, you don't have damage drop off. This is around, I don't know, let's say, I'll say 25 meter distance. Soldier does not have drop off there. McCree might, but he only, okay, McCree, if he's all the way in the back, he will have drop off because it's around approximately 20 meters, but Soldier is, let's say, around 40-ish approx. So it's very important that you stand up here. You can go ahead and break Reinhardt's shield if you have to. You can just be a menace. There's again nothing to contest our Soldier. And I do believe that our hero could have carried with better positioning on defense here, which is why I'm doing this on defense, okay? Now I'm going to go ahead and play this out, because we do end up getting earth shattered. So right here, you'll see the giant check mark on top of Reinhardt. This means ultimate. So there's the earth shatter. Nobody, like, our Soldier doesn't end up dying, or their Ana does end up dying, but if he was upstairs, he could have prevented this possibly by killing Reinhardt and just shooting at him, breaking shield, just pressuring him, and just being a pest in general. Like, they would have to control high ground and get him off. But here, you're not really taking advantage of high ground, so it's just generally not the best positioning. Here with better aim, better hooks, they could have killed you. And then our hero decides to go up here. Sombra does EMP, so now you see 5 ultimates, and again, you don't want to position in the open since they have high noon, and you don't want to position on the ground because they have graviton. You want to stay away from your team. So we go up here, we use nano visor, not the best use, but we don't really want to focus on ult management here. Now we're going to talk about this. So we do end up rocket jumping on this ledge, and this is an example of terrible positioning, because look how much he has nothing to hide behind at all. He's just a free kill. McCree does end up high nooning back here and killing him. Whereas if he was up here, just put him in the same scenario, he just walks this way and nothing kills him. So this is just a general understanding of what good positioning is if he was up here, okay? And I know I'm sounding like a broken record, but I'm just trying to hit this thought home, okay, guys? Of reacting to ultimates. So as you'll see, McCree does end up killing him. Boom. They do end up losing off of this, and you know, I really think that if our hero just understood the value of high ground and just saw that relative to their team not being able to knock anybody off of high ground, that he could have just abused it and just hammered at them without being contested at all, right? He could have abused line of sight and how line of sight pivots by, you know, moving around, adapting to that. He could have built a lot more ult charge at the right times by not having damage drop off. He could have gotten potential picks just by not having damage drop off. And he could have just reacted to ultimates a lot better by having high ground and knowing that they don't have a Reinhardt, knowing they have a graviton, knowing they have a earth shatter, knowing they have hooks. You know, it's just 2.0 the way it works. Also, it's a lot harder to get hooks on heroes that have high ground on you. So there's just a lot more advantage in terms of what high ground could have done for a hero here, right? So again, just to recap, good positioning relies on abusing line of sights, damage drop off, and just basically pick potential, building your ult charge faster. Pick potential meaning that you can, you know, 2 to 4 tap 200 HP targets relatively easy, and obviously just reacting to ultimates and being invulnerable to, you know, earth shatter, graviton, etc. by being up in these high ground positions, okay? As well as having a harder angle for the opponent to hit you. There's just many advantages here. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, go ahead and drop them in the comments. I read and respond to all comments. As well as I have open DMs on Twitter, slide in them DMs. If you like this kind of video, go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe for more future content, okay? You can go ahead and look at my social medias in the description. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.